Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's your girl, Amaya Desire, and
Terrell.
what's going on? We are back with another episode, or another review, shall I say, a full review, spoiler alert, for
Spoilers.
The Ultimatum, which is the second show on Netflix from Nick and Vanessa Lachey. And we are here for the mess because it was messy for sure, to say
Oh
the
boy.
least. So we're gonna give you a rundown of the original couples, so that way you can follow along with us. So we had
Randall and Shanique,
Randall and Shanique.
Alexis and Hunter,
Okay,
April and Jake, Ray and Zay. I really hate saying that together
I
every
know
time.
you do.
Lauren and Nate, and Colby and Madeleine.
Okay, and then as we all told you before, they came in as couples for the first day. The second day, they were single and allowed to choose somebody from the other couples that they felt would be a good fit for them, that they would
Biggest
spend
mistake
three
they do.
weeks together. Right. Yeah. So who were the new couples that were formed after they had like a few days to decide?
Ooh, yeah. Oh man, they was getting a little swapping going. So Randall wound up with Madeline.
Now,
They paired up, and they was
so we
digging each
saw
other.
them date around, of course, but it did seem like they kind of had an eye for each other when they first got there.
Right.
They seemed to connect on the fact that they wanted similar things. And I think Madeline was in the same space as Randall, which was neither one of them issued the ultimatum. And so it would seem as though it's easy to find comfort with someone who's not as ready as your partner is, because you don't feel like you're being forced into
Right.
a marriage. What did you think about that pairing though initially?
Um, Yeah, I thought about the same thing. Like you said, they both didn't. Like you said, they didn't give the ultimatum to each other. Madeline was totally thrown off. You could tell she was nowhere near ready for the level of commitment that Kobe was initially throwing at her. Because he was all in, baby. I love you. This is all I want. This is all I want to do. And she had that mindset of, hey, I still got time left. I should still be able to do A, Y, Z. She was not ready for any type of marriage. Randall, on the other hand, he was talking money. He was saying, "Hey, I don't want to be in a position going into this, and if I fail, money wise, then everything else falls." Because that is
Right.
a big factor with a lot of marriages. Finances, and that is one of the big reasons for like divorce and stuff like that. So I could definitely understand his mindset going into it. So I can see why like they would click so well. Plus, Madeline was thirsty as hell, and she just really was feeling her some Randall.
Yes, I will agree that it seemed like she was somewhat there for a good time, not a long
Right.
time, or however they say that saying. All right, well, I mean, we're yeah, that was a very interesting pairing. But I do feel like they found comfort in each other, and so of course, I wouldn't be surprised if they actually chose each other at the end of this season. So,
Right. That
we
would. I do see. I mean, as you see them go on in the season, I do see them. They communicate very well. And keep in mind, like these people are living with each other for 3 weeks. Supposedly not touching. Yeah, okay. Cameras off.
I don't think that there were. First of all, there weren't any rules. Nobody said anything, right? And I'm not
I
even
mean,
talking
but
about
it
like Nick
was
and Lachey. I mean Nick and Vanessa. I'm talking about the couples themselves as they paired up. I don't think that they said anything like, well, you can't have sex with this person. I think it was one of those not spoken things, but I feel
right.
like
It was. I mean, it was. I think, like you said, it was understood. I mean, we're broke up essentially, for this experiment. So anything that kind of happens, if I need to do this to progress with this person on this level, then that's what they got to do to try to make it work. Because all rules are off the table. Like we gonna do what we gonna do. We living together. We sleeping in the same bed. We eat meals. Like we gonna do something.
right.
So
Well,
you
I
know,
think it was interesting because, of course, Randall came in with Shanique, and throughout the course
uh,
of these few episodes, Shanique threw the most childish tantrum. She was so unreasonable. She was literally the epitome of it's all about me. And sadly, I think she's a woman who simply wants a ring and she wants to say that she's gotten married. She wants a wedding, but she doesn't really know what a marriage entails and what it takes. And I don't think she's ready to be a wife just based off of her behavior. It was just really
Right, and
ridiculous.
that's weird to say too, because like her family dynamic, like when you see her family, I mean, we don't know the ins and outs, but they seem like they got it going, together. Their parents been together for a minute. You know what I mean? Her
Yeah,
father, I don't know if that was her original. Her mom and dad. I mean, they clearly been together. She's 24. Keep in mind. So
right.
like I could definitely see her having that mindset. You know what I mean? Is to she feels like she's the prize. Like you need to give me make it show me that you're serious by doing something that you clearly aren't ready for, which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that quite frankly, looking at her family dynamic, they are part of the problem. Oh, Shanique is a great daughter and she's this, and why is it taking you so long to figure out she's a good
Right.
catch? Like, they're gonna watch their kids on TV and be like, oh shit. Because her behavior on TV does not say anything at the least bit like I'm ready for marriage. Not one bit. So, I think that when families lie, right, when they are essentially not being truthful about who their people are, whether it's a cousin, brother, sister, daughter, whatever, you actually do your person a disservice by like they can't grow if they don't know that they're this type of person.
Right.
So I'm not really sure. And of course, Madeline came with Colby. And this guy is just a plain old narcissist and manipulative along the lines of telling her like, well, you made me do it, like you made me do this, and so since I'm here, I'm gonna make it real for you. I mean, I would have
He,
slapped the dog shit out of Kobe.
I'm
He's
not. I'm not. I'm not gonna say I can relate to that situation, but I can kind of see what he was saying. Like he's like, I'm. He needed to show her that kind of. He could have went about it a different way. Stepping out doing. He wasn't just stepping out, but he was stepping outside the experiment. So he wasn't. I mean, if he had done it with April, then maybe it would have been okay, right? Because that was somebody that he actually felt the connection, supposedly felt the connection with, whatever. But he wanted to show Madeline, like, look, I can be gone like that, I'm gonna go ahead and do whatever. But at the same time, disrespecting her by doing so. So
Yeah, and I thought it was weird that your mom is telling you, maybe this ain't it. Your friends are telling you maybe this ain't it, and you still like not looking at all these red flags that this man is throwing up in the air multiple times. And I'm just like, ma'am, he's
and
not.
it was a lot of stuff on her end too. They just bottom line were not they're not supposed to be together.
Yeah,
Like
no,
they just don't work. I mean, if they were to get married, it wouldn't last a year, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Because
I,
they
I doubt it, and I can't wait for the finale and the reunion. You can skip the finale and just give me the goddamn reunion. Like I'm
let me see the drama. Who's doing what?
What
Uh,
who's our next remixed couple, shall
remix. What was it? Shanique wound up with Zay Ray's man,
very
Mister
interesting.
Mister Toxic himself, Mister Family Childhood Trauma.
Yeah, that he has a lot to unpack. I don't think Zay is ready to be in a marriage. I think that he wants to cling on to what he knows best, like as far as like what's familiar to him. And I
Right,
think a lot of them do, quite frankly, because familiar is comfortable. Once you start getting uncomfortable, now you're feeling like, oh, what can happen? It's the unknown that is
right.
just makes people worry. So for me, Shanique and Zay was an interesting choice, considering that Shanique was the one that gave the ultimatum. I figured she would have chosen somebody else. Like I said in my last review, I figured she would have chosen maybe Nate. But you come in here and you choose a guy who was given the ultimatum, hoping that he's going to be ready to be in a relationship. Like I'm confused. I think that she just didn't want to jump
Yeah,
on.
I thought that was weird too because a lot of people like when the episode they all point that out was like he's like the complete same thing that what you were trying to avoid. Why would you choose him? And Mr. Nate, he just kind of like, he seems like he's the only one there that wasn't really playing any games. You know what I mean? Like he was like, this is what I like, but Nate still kind of had his eye on one girl. He kind of wasn't trying to. He wasn't really pressed. You know what I
Well,
mean?
Nate was he was on April and Shanique.
Right. And then kind of when that blew up, it was just like, all right,
Right, yeah, but he was going to pick them. We see him, getting upset, like what the hell happened when Shanique doesn't do it, and then again he gets more upset when April doesn't do it. That turned
yeah,
into a whole shit show in itself. But I do think that Shanique was probably scared to jump outside of her comfort zone when it comes to race. As
yeah.
far as Zay, I think again he's Shanique was familiar. Um, they connected. I think some of the things they had in common, but little did we know they were gonna get fiery, throughout the season. And so I'm not sure that's a good matchup. I don't think it is. I think that this match is not good. Zay has shown that he has some serious anger issues that he needs to work through.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And Shanique, again, like I said, she's childish and she's almost, quite frankly, she is a gaslighter. And she's somebody who will definitely uh, poke the bear, basically. Not saying that her actions, should have any impact on how he responds to her.
Yeah, I mean, like you can
But
see with him, he not even just with her. He kind of with Rachel. Uh, we see him kind of jump back to those same places and use the same excuses for why he was staying out all night and why he's doing what he's doing, why he feels like he need to give other girls attention. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Then he comes back and he wants to apologize, and this is it was a scene where like they kept asking him, so what was you doing, man? He
right,
just
and
never
he
he just
never
never answered
answered
the
it. He
question.
never answered it. So again, yeah, not rooting for them as a couple together. So who we have next?
Who wound up with who? Ray wound up with Jake.
Like, mm-hmm.
Jake.
This is probably my favorite pair up right here.
Yeah.
Um, I think that Ray is calm. She's gentle. She has like this peace about her. And with Jake, he was accustomed to April basically being his second mother. I
Yeah, that was
cringed
weird.
every single time she would tell him to do something as if she was his mom. Oh, put your hand down off your face. Relax a little bit. This body language you're giving me is not welcoming. It's not open. And I'm like, girl, who the hell do
Yeah.
you think you are? And then you meet his mom, and she's exactly like that. And she's also the audacity of her to meddle in her son's life, talking about some, well, April called me and she really loves you, and just think
Yeah,
about
she makes it well known that she likes April 100%, like disrespectfully in front of
yeah,
Ray.
yeah,
Like, yeah, I like April. I just talked to April yesterday. I
right,
don't like this.
right,
So,
yeah. It was really trash. But
April was real jarring about how she went about this. Like, and she made it real clear. Like, look, me and Jake hitting it raw. You know what I mean? This what
yeah,
we're doing out here in these streets. We've been trying to get pregnant since day one. She brought that into the show. Like, you know what I mean? Look, I ain't had no period in like last 3 weeks. What's good? Like, you
yeah,
lost.
it was very weird. It was very much like that's my man
Yeah.
and all my juices. She even said it at one point, right? She says to Ray, he was like, Ray says that he kissed her, and she goes, "Well, he kissed me too, but it wasn't the lips on my face." And I'm sitting there like, "What? Like that's what we doing right now?
she
Like you're
she
trying
she was
to
playing to win. She was playing
she
to win
wants to
100%.
possess she wants to possess Jake at the end of the day. That's
Right.
how I'm gonna take it. And
I
Ray,
mean, they had 2 years in. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know the backstories and the tragedies they probably went through, as a couple and what they gone through. And she does explain, like, that she had a couple of miscarriages, stuff like that.
right? No, and I get that completely. But at the end of the day, I don't. You don't own anybody. He's not your
Right.
property. You don't get to treat him like he's a pet. Like the
Yeah,
man is
I don't
able
think
to.
that was cool to you to
Yeah,
weaponize that information, especially with people that don't need to know that. You know what I mean? Like, that's your
yeah.
personal. You don't need to bring that into the show. I understand you're on TV, but you don't need to bring that into this.
Yeah, it was messy. I didn't particularly care for it. April. I don't think is a good match for Jake just because of how she handles him, and quite frankly, Ray is, and so Ray coming from Zay, right? she looks at Jake and she finds laughter, she finds joy, she finds peace, she finds somebody she can kind of just be herself with, and it doesn't even take time. It just genuinely happens, and I think those are the connections that last longer when you meet somebody and it just flows in a way where it's just like, oh damn, like how did I end up being like I like this person? Like, oh, we boyfriend and girlfriend now? Like, oh, we engaged? You know what I
Right.
mean? That type of thing. So
I personally wanted to avoid the light skinned couple hooking up at any cost because I just wanted to mix them up a little bit more, like
much lighter than
because
her,
they're
in
both
my
biracial.
opinion. Are they?
Yeah, I think
Oh
they
yeah, they're Irish or something else. I mean,
and
Irish
they
and black.
he meets her dad and he's a freaking race car driver. He was in the Marines or whatever, and
Yeah,
they both have that relatable history because he also just got out and he's trying to find his bearings, and the last thing he's thinking about is trying to have a kid. He's still trying to figure out what he want to do now that he's back, and Ray has not pressed him at all about that. Hey, let's just chill for now. Let's be 24, 26.
yeah, which is reasonable. I mean, for somebody, I have plenty of family members who are in the military, and when they just get out, especially if they're single, they just want a moment to breathe back into
Right,
normal life. You know what I mean? So
right.
I definitely get it, and I'm rooting for them to make it. So who do we have next?
Who do we have? We had April and Colby.
Okay, so April and Colby, who didn't choose each other. Now
They
let's
were the
pause for a
leftovers.
second, right? So
Yeah.
Lauren came with Hunter, and because Lauren did
No,
not
Lauren
meet,
came with Nate.
Lauren came with Nate.
Yeah, Lauren came with Nate, and it was Alexis and Hunter.
Oh, okay, okay. So Lauren and Nate and Alexis and Hunter. So Alexis could not match with anybody because her attitude was trashy. Like she was the epitome of "I'm here, treat me like I'm the best thing that ever
So
walked
yeah,
this earth."
you thinking about Lauren, the blonde.
Which one is who now?
Lauren is the blonde who was like she didn't want anybody that didn't make more than her because she didn't want to be had to take care of anybody.
Yeah, but so then who was snobby?
Alexis was the one that had like the reddish hair, who wound up with Hunter, who was like the piece of trash, who
Oh,
tried to
that's the baby situation one, right? That's the
yeah
one. So Alexis and Hunter are the ones who had the disagreement because Hunter wanted the baby
right.
and she didn't.
She
So
she was
okay,
pushing it. Yeah, he was
so
pushing
yeah, and then he was trash. He got upset because, like we talked about earlier, Shanique was his number one. She didn't choose him. April was his number two, and she didn't choose him. So then he was like, "Man, fuck this," and so he decided that, like, fine, whatever. So then Nate and Lauren had a thing because Lauren was the one who was like, "I can't believe he's not attracted to me," and
yeah, she was hurt. So I
yeah,
think that was Jake that said that to her. And
no,
I'm like, yo, how can you be mad? Like, if somebody has a preference, like, he's just supposed to like you. He's just supposed to be
no,
attracted to
it wasn't Jake. It was Nate because she was saying that he was trash or something about like
you. Right.
how she deserved better or something like that. I can't remember. This is all just jumbling up right now.
I'm trying. Yeah, I think no, for sure. No, it was Kobe for sure.
Oh, it was
That
Colby.
it was Kobe. Yeah, because he
Yeah,
was
she
him
was
in
talking
the
about so
table.
many people that it's confusing. It's
Right.
confusing.
Yeah. So jumping back to what you were saying, Nate pretty much when he was choosing his person, he was just like, yeah, he wanted Lauren, so he just got up and proposed to her, and she's like, oh, nobody else loved me, so he went up and
Yeah,
proposed to
because
her, and
Lauren
then
was Lauren the one who was like, "I came here and I love him and I want to be with him."
right, and Lauren was the one that I think gave the ultimatum. Yeah, she was. So yeah, Lauren was the blonde
Okay, so Lauren was the blonde who gave the ultimatum to who now? Hunter?
to Nate.
To Nate. And Hunter was the one that gave the ultimatum to Alexis.
Yes,
Okay. As
which
you
is
can
which
see,
is
guys, all these couples look alike, and quite frankly, they're confusing to us. Um,
you know
so
what? You know what? You were definitely right. It was definitely Alexis was definitely, because I just pulled up the photos I sent you. Alexis was the blonde and Hunter was the
The
one.
oldest one, right? Because Hunter is
Yeah,
30.
yeah.
Right.
Because
So
we talked to him, I'm like, man, she 26. Like she look like she about 40.
yeah.
Yeah,
So Hunter basically didn't connect with anybody either. Alexis had an attitude because
right,
Nate said that she was unattractive. She
right.
didn't connect with anybody because she just came off a lot talking about money and how she wanted to be treated and what she wanted. And then she came to the table when they were getting ready to choose, and she was like, "I don't want anybody but Hunter." And da, 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 da. And then he gets up and he says, "You know what, guys? I only want Alexis," and literally
He did say that.
proposed to
It's
her.
so cheesy. It's so freaking cheesy. Oh
It
my
was
god.
just so trashy. They deserve each other because nobody was vibing with them anyway. Hunter was like a big brother to the men, and quite frankly, like a really good friend zone friend to the
Right.
women. So that made sense. But then in the midst of that, dusty ass uh,
Nate,
Nate
Mr.
decided
Propose
that
at
he
your
was
friend's
going to
wedding.
propose to Lauren after he's pissed off um, that Shanique nor April choose him, and so they actually who somebody outs him because they're like, well, you just said that you were gonna choose me, and now you're here
Yeah,
proposing to
who
Lauren.
was that? It was man, was it Shanique? No.
No, it wasn't Shanique. It wasn't Shanique. I think it might
April.
have been April.
Yeah, because they was like, "Oh, this is phony. Like you only did that in response to their serious moment," and it
Right.
was because he was clearly mad. You hear him say like, he clearly was like this. That was his play.
Yeah.
He was just going straight up ask her.
And then but here's the thing, the dummy, right, says yes,
She was definitely
knowing that they haven't resolved any of the issues and that the
no.
man still wants a baby and she doesn't. So
It's
I'm
like what
just
changed?
confused.
What changed in a week? It's been a week. Like what changed?
I was just like, this is stupid. So then because that happened, April and Kobe, back to what we were saying, April and Kobe ended up together. They did not choose each other, and they kind of just fell into a space of like, well, we're here. We decided to go through this process. Our persons found somebody, and so now we have to continue on to to see what we learn about ourselves and and possibly our partners. And so yeah, that's that. And with all the remixed couples, the only people that I find to be a good couple is Ray and Jake. Now, despite Jake's mom's, uh, cheerleading for April, I just don't feel like April is a good pick.
I was feeling April, on a lot of different occasions. She had a lot of heartfelt moments where if you can kind of get through the craziness and she explains that she's freaking crazy, um like I feel like she probably would have been a compatible girlfriend or wife for whoever it was, but just not Jake. It's just not where
April
their
needs
space
therapy.
is. Yeah.
She needs therapy. Most of the people on this show need therapy. And the fact that between her and Madeline, they both went through their partner's phone and AKA watch, because going through the watch is still like going through the phone. If
Mm.
you don't trust your person and you're going through their stuff, you should probably not be with that person.
If you
And
go
I
look,
think
you gonna find.
that was a big blow for Jake. I don't think that he really got over that because he didn't find it. Um, you broke trust. So I wouldn't be surprised if that played into um, why he also was just like, Ray wouldn't do this type of situation.
Right.
So
Because
I'm
he
excited
got
to
the Ray
see.
booty pics in the phone. She was losing them.
She was shaking it up, and then April was like, "You're not the only one that can toss it up, girl." She over there shaking her ass. Girl, bye. Sit down somewhere. I definitely think that out of all the couples, I would say that Ray and Zay probably don't make it together because Zay has way too many issues, and if Ray
Yeah.
is smart, she won't do that.
He that seemed like a situation where they was getting into it probably before they even got on this show. Like, you know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like
yeah, probably.
he's probably taking some swings because they have a little episode in, like, I think episode 7 or 8 where he comes back after being out all night and she's trying to get away from him and he's like,
Yeah, he's like following her around.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's like, stop. And then they cut off. They don't see it on camera, but he did something. and
Yeah,
she was ramped up.
I don't think he tried to hit her or anything, but I think he might have,
Yeah,
like she said in the video, like he tried to grab her or he did grab her, trying to take her, trying to get her to stay or whatever. But I just think that he needs help, and he is not good to be anybody's boyfriend, let alone
no,
fiance. So
no.
we're gonna X that. I don't think. I think that Jake will choose Madeline out of not Madeline, choose April out of comfort, because they've been together for 2 years, and although I don't want him to, but when you're just accustomed to something and you decide that you're just gonna take it, then
Yeah, you definitely see him as when they go back into the other 3 week cycle where the original couples go back together. He definitely falls back into a comfort zone, and he even says like he wants to give her a fair chance and really because like when he came back, he was all in on Ray.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
he
he
was
was
trying
he to a point where he was about to just sabotage the rest of this couple weeks. He didn't even care.
right.
So and so like I said, he definitely wanted to give him a chance, and he fell back into that comfort zone, and he really got back into it. And he's all lovey dovey with April again, and they doing their thing, and April's bragging about getting it on the side, and they trying to get pregnant. It's weird, but
Yeah, it's weird. That is not the word, but
but
yeah,
yeah,
I
man,
definitely think
it's
that comfort.
I'm weird. It's weird because like Shanique and Zay, man, like she was kind of calming him for it to a certain extent, but Jay just was not going to work, man. It was, he came to the dinner table, crying around the family about his childhood, and I was just like, oh man, he got some packed in stuff there that this
I
ain't about to
mean,
work out.
that wasn't anything that flared for me because I thought that that was just a genuine moment that he was having. I think my
Like
only
every conversation though, like
well, I don't see that. I feel like he had an intense moment at the dinner
right,
table. He said he was trying not to cry, and then he had an intense moment um, with their lunch with Ray with Ray, and then
oh, with her mom, yeah, he was
yeah, those were
disrespecting her
the only
mom.
two
Like,
times that I saw him cry. I know he got like emotional, but I didn't see him cry any of those other times. And that's not really the issue because I feel like he's walked through some of his stuff,
right,
but that anger he needs to get through for sure. Like
yeah, you definitely see a preview of it when Kobe's kind of joking around with him about how he called the girls over and he was about to fight him at the table.
but I don't think Kobe was joking. Yeah, so I mean I'm bad at reading jokes, so that could also be me. But
You,
it
you
did.
think you think maybe it did happen and he didn't want him to say anything about it?
No,
Like,
he said that it made the conversation was that he somehow sent those women over to Kobe, if I
right,
remember correctly,
right.
and
He made out with him or whatever.
Kobe said that, and he was like, "Why would I do that, bro? Like, I don't care who comes over to you and kisses you or who, whatever, whatever." I think Kobe was being Kobe because he's been an asshole the whole entire
Right,
show.
right.
So I think that he thought that that was gonna be cool to I don't know what he was thinking, but Zay wasn't having it, and you don't play with a black man who's like 4 feet
Yeah,
taller
he
than you. So chill out,
like, cut them
bro.
cameras off. It's like,
Yeah, so not it. Um so then we have Colby and Madeline.
right.
And I think that they will stay with each other because they just dumb.
I don't get her. Like, she's definitely as they did a whole exchange about why they felt like they really like these other people. She was done with Kobe. Like when she came into this, like whatever was there, she was going to latch onto. So Randall came along and she was like, "Yo, I'm trying to go all in on Randall." So her friends boosting her up. Hey, Randall is nice. You know what I mean? He looks good. And but Randall is so loyal, and you see a lot of that his hesitation just with the physical with Madeline,
Yeah.
and not wanting to do certain things or share a lot of himself. And they get to a lot of scenes where like she's like, well, you did this off camera, like why can't you be like that with me this entire time? So he wasn't being real apparently.
I think he was just torn, and that's also being real. I think
Yeah,
that
you just left your partner like a week or
yeah,
so
he
ago.
was just split. I mean, and I would be the same way. That's why I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if none of them had sex because this is only somebody you know for 3 weeks. Like, I'm not that. I don't think that I would do that. I think I would just hold off. Maybe, of course, the kiss because that's you want to see if the chemistry is there. But like having sex with you, probably not. I think that Madeline, she's confused and she would rather that's some other stuff that she has to unpack there. There's a reason why she keeps going back to a man who treats her like trash and then turns around and say, well, I did this for you. I had sex with a whole nother woman for you. Are you crazy? Are you mad? Are you insane? Like,
That's a power
absolutely
move right
not.
there. I don't know
And
if I
then
can
the
pull that
idea
off.
that even after he told you that, he came back and talked to you and said what? So much so that, you're even going to consider it? Like, absolutely not. Hell to the no, no, no.
I,
I'm
I
not real.
also think about like this is a public this is a public show, so everybody's gonna see this. You know what I mean? So if you continue this relationship, people know what you did. And I thought about that too with Shanique and her whole thing with Zay, and they have like a little scene. They don't really show it too much. They get a little comfortable and they do their thing, and they just kind of they got back on the best term because she was real about like, yo, you sleeping on the couch, we ain't about to sleep in the same bed together, she need her space, and they got their comfort zone and did whatever they did. But my man Randall stayed faithful. So
I mean, again, like I said, I can't wait for the reunion.
right.
Okay, that's what I want. I want the reunion
Now,
before
oh
that
boy,
come out because we
somebody
need
scream.
that ASAP, ASAP Rocky. So who do we do? So we had Maddie and Colby. We did Ray and Zay,
Mm-hmm.
Shanique and Randall. I think that Shanique and Randall are just. I just feel Shanique is mad childish, like mad childish. She don't know how to talk out her mouth. She thinks that you should just bow down to her, and that this ultimatum is going to somehow change her life. Like the fact that she said it wasn't about the ring, and then you know she goes back and she's like, well, maybe not. So we're like, make up your mind. Like, is it about the ring? Is it not about the ring? And like
Right.
I said, I stand by my stance that she doesn't want to be a wife. She just wants to be able to say she's married. And so I hope that Randall doesn't choose her. But as you said, like he's faithful and he's loyal, and sometimes
Yeah.
that can hold you back and sabotage you in the end. So we'll see. I'm not a
Trash.
fan of Shanique. She needs to get some help.
Don't do it, Randall. Don't do it, man.
And actually, she needs to lay off the alcohol. All of them, but especially her and Maddie, they need to lay.
Madeline, I don't know who was drinking more. Woo. Time
Yeah,
you saw Madeline, she was drunk. Like,
listen, they would have to have a drinking contest for me to figure out who was drinking more because I
I'm gonna go back and just count the drinks they drinking on scene. It's probably
I feel like Shanique might kind of have Maddie beat that they
it's
might be
smelling
neck
like.
and neck. So we'll see.
Um,
We'll see.
Forgot to mention too, like the couples that wound up getting engaged are completely removed from the show. The
Yeah.
only person that comes back is Alexis for like whatever reason they needed to bring her back for.
They did a she had a bachelorette party and so the girls went out to hang out with her and then she just messy boots. She's like, so Ray, are you really gonna stay with Zay because you and Jake are just the cutest and I think you guys would be the best and
Not a real connection. Everybody can see it. And
meanwhile, April
April.
is sitting over here like, I don't give a hell. I don't want to hear. I don't want to talk about this shit. Like, you know what? Have fun at your bachelorette party, and then she eventually leaves while Ray is there having a moment, and crying and whatnot. And I think that's when I was just like, it's real for her.
Yeah.
She really does like Jake.
It was funny enough. It's like it was like Q title card. It's like right when she started crying. So
Uh, yeah, I don't know, but so I think we got everybody right.
yeah,
Well,
we
April,
got everybody up until that
April,
point.
and Jake. Um, April is a handful. She also needs therapy because she thinks she want to be a mom so bad. She already a mom. She just don't have no kids. And
What
and,
what
and
is up
Jake's
for?
mom didn't do anything to like help that situation. She made it worse.
You know what I would like to see, kind of like during the reunion of this is like, obviously, whoever's together stays together, but like those people that didn't make it, the those people that we don't see, they kind of wind up in a pair or wind up hooking up or something, and then they show up on the last episode.
What do you
Um,
mean?
Well, this goes up to episode 8, but Ray breaks up with Zay.
Oh, right. Well, I
Right,
mean,
yeah. After that whole incident at the staying out all night, she's like, yeah, we're done. So they
right.
probably they keep saying we broke up, we broke up, we broke up. So
Right, that's true. They did break up at the end. I mean, I think they're gonna. Everybody comes back. That's how reunions, most reunions work. Everybody comes back, whether they're a pair or not.
I feel like they contracted, right? Like, they got to come
They
back.
still sit on the couch and they talk about it. They're gonna bring back the couples who proposed the first night before the couples were
Mm.
made. And now what I would like to see is I want them to Skype in those people who were like, that ain't gonna work, don't do it, and they did it anyway. That's what I want to see. It bring back the mamas and the friends. So
Looking stupid.
yeah. But guys, let us know what you think. Now that the couples, the remix couples as I like to call them, have been paired up, who do you think is a good match? Who do you want to see stay together as an original couple? Or, who do you want to see break up, period? Because some of these hoes need to be single. Let us know what you think. We will be back with the finale.
And re-
And then we'll definitely be back for the reunion. So listen, I'm ready for the reunion. That's it. That's all. That's all I want. So
hashtag trash.
hashtag messy ass reunion. There we go. All right, y'all. Until next time, stay tuned for more with Big Go Bell Media. Peace.